Hey, welcome to Functional Conditioning Yoga with me, Ricky Stewart. Very excited to be here. Always excited to teach this class because it's so good for me. So good that I settle into doing the things that I think we all need a little bit more of. Because it's easy to do hard work. If you are in the mindset of, right, that's it, I run 4 times a week, every week, no matter what, I get out there, I hit the pavement and I run fast and I come home sweaty. It's hard on your body. This teaches you to kind of know what you've got going on with all of this stuff. All of your joints, your footprint, your toes, even your fingers. We're going to do a little bit of wrist work today because I feel it's a neglected joint and a neglected area. It's very important to keep these wrists working nice. And it's going to be good. I'm very excited about it. We'll also use a sofa or a chair or any piece of furniture you've got that you can kind of lean into and put your body weight into a little bit, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be very good. So, let's get us started. If you start in seated, if cross-legged is a little bit of a big ask for you, you don't have to be in cross-legged. You can sit anywhere you want. You can sit like this with one leg tucked in. You can sit against a sofa. You can sit against a wall. It's fine. Anything's fine, because all I want is for you to be able to tune into breathing. And I've said this so many times before, but I'm reasonably flexible, but cross-legged, it's an ask for me. I've got to try to do it. I can't just sit like I'm fully relaxed. I'm not going to sit and watch TV like this because I've got 10 minutes tops that I'll happily sit like this. So if this is a big ask for you, you can treat it like that. You can treat it like training. So I'm trying to see whether I can relax my shoulders here, which I need to purposefully do. Different when if I sit on the edge of the sofa like we sometimes do, completely different. I don't know if you could see that even just as I talk, I tense up a little bit in this position. I'm kind of comfy. I just feel like I've got a grip onto it to be able to stay upright. And that's that level of detail, that attention to detail is what I'm asking of you, really. Just see if you can control your stuff. Relax your jaw. See if you can let your rib cage expand. And draw in. And then do a little side bend, where you squeeze rib cage down towards your side, one side and then the other. And you know I love working on your spine and working on my spine and working out how to make it move. Just depending on where you put your attention depends on how this movement feels. So if you think about the shortening side, which is this side just now, and I think about the shortening side over to the other side, it feels like an exercise in contraction, in making muscles squeeze up. But then if I think about this as a stretch, it feels different, and I maybe move a little bit differently as well. Movement's the same essentially, but just depending on where I put my attention, it makes me do different stuff, maybe with my shoulder blades, maybe with my spine, maybe even with my breathing. Just knowing. No right or wrong. I'm not asking you to do it a specific way. I'm just asking you to put your attention to different places. And I think that can be implemented in every movement, in every exercise, in every task that we do as humans. And then go into rotation. And I think I talk about that a lot, about when I talk about how I draw. I do a fair bit of art. I'm kind of okay at it. I can put together a finished piece in different media, but sometimes I stop thinking about what the end of the pen or the paintbrush or the pencil is doing, and I think about how my hand feels. Sometimes if it's against the paper, I feel this, keep rotating by the way, I feel like this little fat bit of my hand brushing the paper, and that, keeping that a nice constant pressure dictates how I make lines on the page, And I can't make those lines like that without thinking about that. And that's a little bit like what I talk about in this movement thing, that if I just try and feel these muscles in my back that are doing the rotation, it makes me do something a little bit different with my shoulder blades. If I try and think about it by the sides of these muscles around my rib cage, it makes me do something different again. And it dictates the shapes that I make. And what I want from you, from yoga as a whole, is more options. And this is you learning options, learning different ways of tweaking these movements, not between right and wrong. I'm just trying to expand your horizons. Okay, then coming up onto your knees, let's work more on the spine and the way it moves, the way it works. So if you can come up high, I want you to push your heels together. You should be able to feel bum cheeks turn on, so hips kind of pop forwards. Put your hands on the bottom rib, so try and find your bottom rib. Just poke around and find it. And see if you can keep your hips pushed forwards, but pull that bottom rib down. And you should go into this kind of curled over shape. What we do with our shoulder blades changes things for this movement. I want you to tuck your chin and put your fingertips on top of your shoulders and try and round your back while your bum muscles push forwards. Then I want you to pick up this bottom rib. Pick it up high while your hips push forwards. And then keep your elbows kind of pulling down towards your rib cage. And try and bring shoulders back. And keep your shoulder blades spread so your shoulders come forwards and then curl right back down again. And back up. Back down and back up. And I kind of think about this as a global spine movement. That each of your vertebrae all move kind of at about the same time, and you get this global movement and change in shapes, which is kind of cool. And then I want you to just hold yourself in neutral. I don't really like neutral spine as a word because our spines should be able to do anything at any time. There's no set position it should move from. Tense your bum. Then I want you to untuck your tailbone so your hips kind of pop back, and you'll probably have to unlock bum muscles and then come into more back bend. And then I want you to tuck your tailbone under and then come down into curl. Unlock your tailbone and then move up your back, and then tailbone tucks under and move down. Unlock your tailbone, then back up. And I hope that's a good way of explaining what it is that I want you to do, because there's loads of different ways of thinking about this. I could say that we start from lumbar spine and pelvic tilt every time. So maybe if you put your hands on your hips actually and tuck your tailbone under and then curl over and then tilt your pelvis the other way and then flip this bottom rib up, tuck your tailbone under and then bring this rib cage down. Because what I want is, if we come down into cat-cow, that you can find the pathway from this to unlock your lower back first while the top of your back stays set, and then be able to lift your sternum, lift your collarbone, lift your chin, and then drop your chin, drop your collarbone, drop your sternum, and then do lower back. So we're moving from one end of your spine to the other. Okay, I've got a plan here that I really want to see whether you can explore this with me, and different stuff will happen for different people. So you'll notice I said a few times then I want your shoulder blades to spread when you had your arms like this. I want you to pull your forearms back so you squeeze shoulder blades together. I want you to hold them here like this and pull your rib cage down and then pull rib cage up. Just simple rib cage movement while you squeeze shoulder blades together. See if you can pull your elbows towards your back pockets now as you do this movement. Imagine like you've got a bar in your hands and you're trying to keep that bar behind your back. So your forearms, your fists are pulling back. You're finding this movement while you slide those shoulder blades down your back. You should feel like you're trying to put your elbows in your back pocket. That's it. Okay, now I want you to cross your arms over again. I'm going to move face forwards and then do rotation. A lot of work on spine today. We are going to get to shoulders and wrists and hips and stuff as well. So while you do this, I want you to tense your bum muscles and not let your pockets move. So that means your hips don't move essentially. You can just find this rotation with shoulder blades spread. Then can you pull elbows back and then do this rotation again, where you try and pull fists, try and pull elbows back, and it should feel really different. And then try and put your elbows in your back pockets 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, let's get into this wrist stuff. So wrists are a big point of contention. There's something that a lot of people really struggle with. We're going to do both hands at the same time. So if you bring your palms down onto the floor, I want you to come back so your hips go back to your heels, and this angle between your forearm and your knuckles is kind of open. Lock your elbows out. And you need to be really cautious here, because I want you to come over your hands with locked elbows until you find a comfortable, nice stretch. Shouldn't be painful. So if you're going from like here and coming all the way forwards here, I'm happy here because I train my wrists a lot to be able to do planche. It's hard here though. If you're here and you can feel stretch, that's fine. If you're here and it feels uncomfortable, then come back further. Now let's just see if you can hang out at your limit. I'm going to go to my actual limit. You don't have to go as far as this. I just realise this is quite a lot, but I've trained this so much. Okay. And just kind of hang here. No pain. No feeling of pinching. No closing angle pain at all. It should feel kind of okay. And then I want you to try and push your fingertips down, including your thumb fingertip. So your thumb pushes down, and and you try to put that fingerprint through the floor. Every single finger, including little finger, including your thumb. Push harder and try and find more stretch. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. See if you can lock those elbows out. Then, I want you to push yourself back with your fingertips still pushing, and then bring yourself forwards. Push yourself back, and bring yourself forwards. Okay, this next bit is the hard bit. This is what's going to make you own this. I want you to come up to upright and lift your knuckles. So you've got a little bridge under your palm of your hand. Lift those knuckles up, and then see if you can lift your fingertips up. So your hand's doing a wheelie on the heel of your hand. Keep that up, and then come forwards, forwards, forwards. Keep lifting those knuckles, lifting those fingertips. Those fingertips are probably going to touch, and that's okay, as long as you can feel like you can contract these muscles here enough to pull those fingertips up and hold it, and hold it, and hold it. Going 3, 2, 1, then coming out. That's a lot of work. So I want you to go wrist facing up. So I'm going to come right up to the camera so you can see. So if you can get either a watch strap or a bad tattoo, either way, that stays facing up as you go palms up, palms down. And notice how my fingers don't do this. Don't let them do that. Keep straight line from heel of the hand to fingertips. Straight line like this. Going back up and down. That's it. And then maybe, just to do a little stretch the other way, you can put the back of your hands together, fingernails touch, and then try and drop your elbows and lift your wrists so you can stretch the other way. Just hold it here for a second, and maybe if you bring your thumbs into your sternum, changes things. Bring your thumbs away from your sternum, changes things a bit. Lift and lift and lift. That's it. So the annoying thing about that is we've just trained those wrists to be able to do things like plank a bit better. The problem is that's a big ask of the wrists. If we start putting you into plank now, they're already tired, they're already probably a bit jammed up. I want them to be able to recover so we don't do any plank now for the rest of the class. That is it. That's it. Okay, let's get into some stretchy hamstring stuff. So if you come down onto one knee and sit your bum back on your heel, if you can. If you can't do that, I'm going to give you the other option in a second. Straighten out this leg, a little bend in this knee. Don't let this knee lock out. I want to see a little bend. I want you to feel the stretch right in this hamstring, and bring your torso forwards without bringing your head down. So you keep your torso long, bring your torso forwards. If you can't sit on this foot like this, you're allowed to drop your hips down, have this heel kind of by the side of your bum and hinge forwards. You're also allowed to come up high like this and hinge forwards like this. Any of those shapes is good. I kind of like sat on my heel. It's kind of comfy for me. I'm training this ankle that's underneath my bum as well to be able to do that pointy toe shape. And I quite often have my hands behind me a little bit with fingertips down, and I kind of push my fingertips into the floor to bring my chest up and hinge forwards into this stretchy hamstring shape. Keep with it. And just see if you can breathe nicely. You can change your mind. You can start down here and then you can say, actually, my whole foot is going to drop off. I don't like this anymore. It's the worst thing in the world. Just change it. Just change it to being up high on your knee or dropping down onto your hips like this. It's not much of a change really, but it's kind of similar, and then you could maybe get the ankle out from under you a bit. But any of those shapes, it's kind of cool. I'm happy sat here like this. Keep breathing and keep hinging. Now, like always, if we're going to learn a new range, so I want this hamstring, this posterior chain, to be able to, for you to be able to have access to this hip hinge so that you can fold over a bit more. I want you to be able to use this. So can you drive your heel down? Kind of hard. You kind of pull the floor towards you a little bit and push, and really, really push. Really drive that heel down and get stronger. And it should feel like you're loading up all of this posterior chain. That's it. Keep it going. Keep driving down. And then I want you to sit up a little bit. I want you to lift from your hip flexor. Lift this foot up. I'm not that bothered about air time, so even if it's down here, it feels like you can get this little hip crease to do the thing. That's what we're after. Keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting. Going 3, 2, 1, drop. And then stretch again. Yes. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to stick with this leg. I've just done my right leg, whichever leg you've just done. You're going to pick this up, and you've got a few options here. I'm going to go through them all. If you can get to the arm of your sofa, if it's high enough or low enough, or whichever suits you, can you put your shin across the arm of your sofa so your shin is at the same angle as your chest, so you can lean forwards and stretch this hip. You also have the option of doing it like this, with your foot, your shin coming across your body and you leaning over your sofa like this on one knee. Hopefully you kind of get the shape, because it's the same as the one I just did stood up. And I like this because you're a bit more upright. If you're in it, just stick with it. Just stick in it. If you need to explore it a bit and change between kneeling to standing or something, it's fine. Just play around and explore it. I always like exploration of these poses as much as I like the work that we put into these poses. So, just breathe and then see if you can hip hinge. Kind of bring yourself forwards like this. If you need to, you could be on tiptoes like this, and it gives you a bit more space. As soon as I go tiptoes, I don't get enough of a stretch here. It goes. As soon as I drop my heels, find it again. I could even, if this isn't enough of a stretch, maybe if you're super tall, I am not, you could drop your hips down a little bit lower, and that gets way more of a stretch because I'm getting this shin closer to my chest, and keep trying to hinge forwards. I'm just going to hang out here. You know, I've said this before, I love upright mobility training, where you're stood up or sat up, because we sit up and stand up all day. We lie down at night, which is cool, but this relates to how we use our stuff, how we move around the world. Okay, while you're here, just hanging out, getting into this stretch on the outside of your hip, what is your standing foot doing? Does the footprint feel nice? Does it feel strong? Is your big toe pushing into the floor? Can it push into the floor? Okay, let's start getting into the hard work of this now. I want you to drive your shin down through your sofa, or your chair, or whatever you've managed to get onto, and keep pushing down now. Coincidentally, actually, if you've got a sofa that's got a bit of an angle on the arm of the chair, that can sometimes work in your favour. You just need to change sides of the sofa if you've got space to. You could definitely make that work. Okay, keep driving this shin down. So you're trying to load up all of this stretching tissue here. Keep driving down, driving down, driving down. Going 3, 2, 1, stand up tall, and I want you to try and lift this ankle. As it happens here, I don't have this. I can't lift this foot. I'm getting no air time, but I feel something connecting here that I'm getting a bit closer. I'm going to test this again in a second. Going 3, 2, 1, and then drop and stretch and bring yourself over. just have a little check-in with your wrists while you go into this passive stretch as far as you can. Do your wrists feel alright now? Because they were probably really tired after we did those pails and rails, the stretchy stuff in plank. That's it. Then coming out. Right. Then coming in standing. You can cheat for balance if you like. I want you to lift your knee and lift your heel. Get this heel up to your chin and feel it. And then maybe pick it up with your hand and then let it go. Let's do 3 of those. Pick it up with your hand and there you go. I'm trying to make it not do free fall. Use 2 hands if you want. Yes. Then I want you to just do me 3 hip cars. I'm going to do 5 just so you can catch up. So it goes knee back, knee out, knee up, knee across, knee back, knee out, knee up, and knee across. You'll see how my foot at this knee up section hangs underneath my foot. Last one. Yes. There we go. This hip should feel suitably stretched and kind of ready to do stuff now, hopefully. Okay, let's go into stretching out this left hamstring. So if you can sit on your heel, that would be cool. And stretch this leg out, little bend in the knee as you hinge forwards. Fingertips behind me helps me, but you can have your hands wherever you want. You can even use a piece of furniture to help you. Relax your jaw and hang out. If it's the end of the world for sitting on your foot, just change it. You can drop down onto your hips. You could come up like this and have this foot further out forwards. They're all legitimate ways for you to get into stretching this stuff. Not one way is better or worse, but I like to explore all the different ways because it changes things. And again, this is your torso is almost upright here. It changes the way that gravity affects things compared to if we were stood and did a forward fold. And also it means that we can work individually on each leg as well, which is helpful also. Just breathe, keep hanging out in this passive stretch. See if you can get your shoulder blades down your back. So I just did a little live video before I came on here about getting your teeth into learning something. I think it's just so important for training and for life and for being human. I think you get stagnant. If you're not trying to get better at something, then you miss out on this good feeling of like, I'm closer, I'm getting closer, I can almost get it. And I love that feeling, I chase it so much in my life. Just enjoy it. It makes me turn up, it stops me from sitting on my phone. Okay, start driving your heel down now. If you can apply that to this, that you can get strong here. Like if you didn't used to be able to be strong here, but now you can feel when you push your heel into the floor, you get connected. You can tell that all that posterior chain is starting to learn, the dots are starting to get connected. It's exciting. Lean into that, like literally lean into it and really feel like you're getting your teeth into learning something. It's so exciting. Okay, then try and lift this foot so you can sit upright a bit because I want to see if you can actually get some air time and get this nice 90-degree angle off heart, or even better. Keep holding, going 3, 2, 1, and just stretch. Fantastic. And then coming up, let's have a little check in with this stuff on here. So if you're going to do standing one and your sofa allows you to, depending on the height of your sofa, I've got one that's a bit low for me here, on the arm of the chair at least. I'd have to be on my knees on the seat of the sofa. It just depends. And if I had a sofa that had the arm at a bit of an angle, I would have my knee a little bit higher here, and that would probably feel nice. I'd probably quite enjoy that. You can use it, you can just make it work. There's so many different variations. Or if you've got an ottoman or something like that that's got a soft top, sometimes that can be quite nice. Or your bed can sometimes be quite nice. You can always, if you are kneeling and do the kneeling version, you can always stack cushions or pillows underneath your knees so that you lift yourself a bit higher. It might give you a bit more space to explore this. But I love this. So this is a variation obviously on pigeon pose or 90-90. The 90-90 is a variation on pigeon pose as well. It just changes what this back leg does. Right now it's stood, and I like to feel what this footprint is doing. I can tell it's changing. It's doing different things. I'm training it. It's one of the building blocks of being able to find this hip stuff. As it happens, my left leg is a little bit more mobile than my right. I can feel like I can drop myself just a little bit lower. Just keep hanging out. Work out where your spine is. The thing I like about this as well is when I'm in 90-90, it throws me off into a little bit of a side bend, normally because of the back leg lacking abduction for me. This feels good for me. In fact, I much prefer this. I might drop it in more. I might add it in more as a progressive thing that we keep on checking in with. Just a couple more breaths here. Really try and find that stretch and then start to apply pressure. So this shin and this ankle and this knee pushes down through the sofa and try and load it up. Really load it up. Keep pushing down. Keep pushing. Drop your hips a little bit lower. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Bring yourself up. Probably stand up because I'm not getting this ankle to lift here. No way. Do not own this range, but I can connect to trying to teach this closing angle how to grip onto this movement. Keep your shoulders down and keep trying to lift. Relax your jaw a bit. 3, 2, 1. And then hinge and really curl over. Should feel kind of nice. That's it. Alright, so we do 3. Oh, kind of hard walking after that. Good to just do a little bit of a jiggle, move around. So, lift this knee up, bring your heel up towards your face, try and own it, pick it up, and do a little free fall. Pick it up, a little free fall, not free fall, opposite of free fall, controlled descent, where you're connecting the dots from this passive range to this active range, and then pull this knee back, knee out, knee up, knee across, and get a little bit of movement into this hip. I'm going to work a bit on your hip stability. That was a terrible one. To come into internal rotation after this first, so I think doing a bit of knee work would be helpful here. So if you come down into seated, you can have your back up against the sofa. I'm going to, just because it's a little bit of help. Straighten out your left leg, grab hold of your right leg from the hamstring like this and pick it up. Straighten your knee, bring it back. And see if you can keep this kind of neutral. So trying to get closer to being able to lock this knee out with your thigh right up against your belly. And then I want you to try and turn your toes out to the side. Then I want you to try and turn your toes across your body and straighten out. Let's work a little bit on this tibial rotation. So, knee rotation is super important. If you don't have it, then your ACL is probably going to be quite vulnerable to injury. If you planted your foot and twisted and your foot didn't twist but your knee did, that anterior cruciate ligament can sometimes take a battering, and it's one of the worst injuries to get. I want you to see if you can lift this up, get your hold onto your foot and try and twist your foot across your body and then push it out. Twist your foot across your body and push it out. So you're trying to get this rotation in the knee against a little bit of resistance. If you take your hand away, when you do this with your toes pointed across your body, turn your toes to the outside of your body, this calf should change and the thigh stays still. You should be able to see this bit of rotation here in the knee. Such a powerful movement, but it's one of our weak links as humans, that if we injure it, it's such an intrusive surgery to fix. It doesn't just heal, it's connective tissue, it doesn't get blood flow, so it's not like a pulled muscle that will eventually just rebuild itself. It's not like that. There we go. Cool. Now let's try this on the other leg. So, hook your arm under your hamstring, pick this foot up and straighten this leg out. So this is just neutral knee, so it's right down the middle, working right in its middle range. Keep it moving. And then turn your toes out to the side, straighten out. Looking for a little hamstring stretch here as well, ideally. Sometimes you might be able to feel like a click building up in this. It depends how you feel about clicks, really. I don't mind click my knuckles occasionally. I'm not into a huge habit of it, but it doesn't bother me at all. And these clicks can be normal. And as long as they don't hurt, it's just a little release of gas, a little closing of space that makes this click. Then turn your toes across your body and straighten out. Then let's see if you can get this tibial rotation. If you put your hand on the outside of your foot and feel like you can make this turn with a little bit of resistance. Because if this movement's strong, then if you do get into the worst, that you twist, fall, whatever it is, footballers get a lot when they're stood stick in the ground and they twist but their knee doesn't, and it like pulls on that ACL. If you can get strong at this, you might be able to put the brakes on enough not to hurt yourself. There we go. And then just see if you can do it without any resistance. And it might feel weird, you might not get it. It's just learning. And hopefully you can tell that my calf is doing this little turn every time. That's it. Cool. Okay. And then let's sit upright with your heels apart a little bit, probably about 2 fists distance apart, and your knees pushing down to the outside. If you can get your forearms or your hands or your elbows to push into your knees and just go into a little passive stretch for these groin muscles here. Soften the shoulders down, but push down with your elbows a little bit. That's it. Just keep hanging out here, feeling this bit of stretch here. I find it really hard to relax into this. So I just turned off my bum muscles there because they were like gripping on so tight. Sometimes if I just close my eyes and slow my breathing down, I can kind of soften into this a bit more. I find it really hard to let go here. Really, really tough for me. You might have different stuff going on. Your knees might be much closer to the floor than me, or they might even be much tighter up here. But we're just putting in some nice, gentle, stretchy stuff here. But like always, we need to be able to connect to this stuff to be able to make it work nice. So if you can push your knees against your forearms, against your wrists, and load this up. Breathe. Keep trying to lift your knees. And bring your hands under your knees and try and push your knees down and try and lift with your hands. Shoulders down. You should be able to feel the outside of your hips here, really trying to own this shape. 3, 2, 1, and then just soften. Cool. So we've kind of worked on every direction with our hips there. Let's do a little bit more hamstring work and a little bit differently. So if you just straighten your legs out with a little soft bend in your knees, which means these knees don't lock out, and pull your toes back. I'm sat against the sofa, by the way, here. I want you to get hold of your bottom rib and see if you can lift it up, and then see if you can hinge forwards with shoulders down. Maybe you can hold on to toes if you want, or your hands can go under your knees, or hands can go here. Hands can even go behind you, which I quite enjoy. And just breathe. Just keep breathing as you hinge. Hands go wherever they want, don't need to be on your toes. See if you can lengthen your torso a little bit. That's it. Now start driving your heels down. Really push your heels down and try and pull your heels towards you. Keep pushing, keep pushing. This next bit's going to be tough. I'm really sorry, but just a little bit of work that we can put in. Bring your hands at either side of your thighs. Lift your chest and try and lift your feet. Don't have to actually lift. But in 3, 2, 1, then drop. Just curl over. Fantastic. Then rolling up onto all fours and just lumbar spine tilts. So it's just pelvic tilts, only your lower back. Maybe you can round the top of your back. And this is a little test on your wrists here to hopefully see if they feel comfortable with loading up like this. Can you push fingertips down? Can you lift your knuckles? And really make lower back do this tilt. Yes. There we go. And then coming back into cross-legged. And hopefully, I know this is going to have changed for me. The difference between my cross-legged now and at the beginning of the class is miles apart actually. I'm not clinging on so hard because I've done that. I think it's really down to my groin here, these muscles down the inside of my thighs, doing that little bit of stretch and contract and relax, and just changes things so much for me. It takes a long time. I've been teaching yoga for years, and cross-legged is still a bit of an ask. It's way comfier than it was when I started, much comfier, but I'm still learning. It's constant, it's forever. I love that. Keep chasing. And hopefully you can get your teeth into that as well. You can just keep trying to learn a little bit more. Bring your palms together. Thumbs to forehead, tuck your chin, roll forwards. Namaste. Thank you so much everyone. You know I appreciate you all. I hope you're all having a good day. Sun shines out now. Blue skies in Scarborough. Hopefully it's like you. So let me know what you've got going on. Let me know if there's something you need, something you want to see more of, and we'll work it out. We'll add it in. Thanks Natasha, as always. I'm glad you enjoyed that wrist stuff. It's such a weak link for so many of us. It's tough. It's tough. All right. Let me know what you got going on. Keep messaging me. Keep letting me know. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.